I mean, when we're using technology today, I mean, it's great to be able to make phone calls and video calls and all that. I mean, if you can't be with someone today, it's nice to be able to see their face. But when you're on a video call, you don't actually feel like you're there with the person, right? I mean,
Right.
you get some signal, some information, you can see their face, but the whole time you're kind of trying to convince your brain that you're actually there with them, but your brain knows, right? It's like at kind of like a deep level
Yeah.
that's you're not actually there with them. You're just getting some information about what they look like. And to me, what virtual reality unlocks is it basically really convinces your brain that you're there. Well, the first one obviously was just like having a headset and be able to look around. And for that, one of the key things that your eye basically refreshes, I don't know, call it every 5 milliseconds or something. So if you turn your head and the image isn't kind of refreshed to where you're looking within 5 milliseconds, then there's this huge mismatch between your visual system and your vestibular system and your kind of balance in your ear. And people used to kind of feel uncomfortable from that, right? Because it's like a physical discomfort because it like what you were looking at didn't match kind of as you were rotating your head. So that was kind of the first thing. Then we got hands. And there was this whole thing that was super interesting there where at first we wanted to, display your whole arm, which makes sense, right? Because I mean, it's you'd think, okay, it's a little weird to just see your hand. But it turns out that your brain is perfectly willing to just accept seeing your hand without your arm because your hand is the thing that it's trying to manipulate. And as a matter of fact, when if we kind of interpolated and got your arm position wrong, right? So we'd get into these cases where your hands were here and we'd sort of guess that your arm was like that or something. And if your arm was actually like that, but we displayed it so that it was in like that, you're like, my elbow's broken. Right? It felt like really wrong. So it's actually much better to show a limited number of signals, but get them right. And then you could just add on over time. So for previous versions before this, we didn't, the kind of eye contact was all just, AI simulated, but we didn't actually know when you were making eye contact because we weren't tracking the eyes. And now for this version and hopefully, a lot of the different ones that we build going forward, you'll be able to, have realistic facial expressions and more translated directly to your avatar. But there's this whole roadmap of basically how do you deliver this like real sense of presence, like you're there with another person, no matter where you actually are.
It was very impressive because even when I moved my jaw side to side, I went like, it did that. It made the O face like, ooh. It's really interesting. And you were saying also that the way this is tracking is you're doing this without putting something on your body, without putting trackers on your body. But do you ultimately think that that's like, are we going to go Ready Player One where you have like a haptic feedback suit and you have to zip this thing up to get into a game and in that way you're going to be fully immersive? Or do you think that it can get to the point where it can mimic the movements of your body accurately without you having to wear something?
So I think that there will be opportunities to wear things to augment the experience further, right? So we already have these experiments with haptic gloves where you can like, if you touch a digital object, right? If you drop a ball from one hand to the other, you can feel the ball in your hand physically. And that's pretty cool. But I want to design this in a way where you don't need that, right? So today there's two primary modes of doing the tracking. I mean, there's this kind of notion of inside-out tracking. You're wearing the headset and it tracks your motion, it tracks your hands. Eventually it'll track your legs with an AI model. And you can do that all with your headset. And the big advantage of that is you don't need to have a whole lot of different devices, right? Eventually you'll be able to do it without even having controllers. You'll just have the headset. The headset will get smaller. It'll be more portable. You'll be able to bring it around. You don't want to have a setup that has like 10 pieces, right? I mean, maybe there are going to be times when you want to kind of have that sort of super deep experience, or maybe you have it at your home. But I think ultimately people are going to just want to have versions of this that they can bring around, and whether it's on an airplane or you're doing work at the office or you're going to a coffee shop or whatever. And for that, you really just want to make it work from the device.
So just from a pair of glasses or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, right now there's kind of the concepts of virtual reality and augmented reality are sort of on two different development paths, but they're obviously fundamentally interrelated, right? So virtual reality, it's kind of possible to build today, right? Quest 2, it's pretty popular, doing well. Hopefully, the new one that comes out, I think it's a pretty big step above it. But you can build that today. There's a lot of new technology that we've researched that goes into that, but it also is building on top of decades of advances in displays that came from TVs and then laptops and phones, and some of the display technology gets to piggyback on those decades of innovation and all these different companies that have done that work before. AR is a pretty different beast because what you really want to get to is not a headset. You want to get to something that's like a normal looking pair of glasses that is, it won't be like a wireframe because you'll need to fit some electronics in it, where you'll basically need to have a computer in there and speakers and a microphone and batteries and a laser projector. And then the display, which, we and a lot of other folks think is going to be this technology called waveguides, which is completely different from screens, because it's a screen. It's like you're looking at a thing, and basically you're looking at like all the pixels that are on the screen. The thing that's different about a waveguide is it'll actually be see-through, so you'll be able to see the world through it, and then it'll display holograms and be able to place them at different depths in the world.
So is a waveguide a type of technology? Like what is a waveguide?
Yeah, it's basically they can be made of different substances, plastic, glass, different substrates, and they basically get etched or printed in different ways. And there's this big debate right now where a lot of the research is going into what is the right way to basically create these waveguides that have the right properties, because you want for augmented reality to get something that's wide enough field of view. So you can imagine in 5 years we're having this conversation. I'm not here. You're wearing AR glasses. Hologram Mark is here, and like it's not only just is it kind of working as a hologram, but there's all these different dimensions beyond just being like a better video chat. If we want to play poker, it's like I could like deal a deck of cards and we could play. Hologram me could deal hologram cards, and you could have your glasses, and physical you there could pick up the hologram cards, and you can have a poker night where like some of your friends are there physically and some of them are there as holograms. And